Samarkand was the most beautiful face that the earth has ever turned towards the sun. And in Herat, you were sure to accidentally kick a poet whenever you stretched your legs. I missed both of these cities dearly, but my new capital was not too shabby either. With skies filled with herons and cranes, surrounded by breathtaking mountains and hills dressed in fruit orchards, Kabul was a jewel in the wilderness. This unending loveliness inspired me to beautify the city even more. New palaces were erected and mosques established. Trees were planted and gardens built, the most beautiful in the world, mind you. The money required for these lavish projects came easily, as Kabul lay at the heart of the Silk Road. And the trade caravans from northern India brought not only sweets and aromatic roots, but also interesting news. The Indian city-states beyond the mountains were still recovering from Tamerlane's invasion 100 years earlier. Apparently, they were weak enough to offer little resistance to a determined invader. I had to get to the bottom of these rumors, so I organized an expedition to Hindustan. And since you can always combine the useful with the pleasant, I decided to carry out the expedition as a raid.
The infirm city-states of the Punjab lie at our feet. Let us show them that it was a mistake to consider us an ordinary band of robbers!
समझ गया तुरंत हाँ शिकारी समझ गया शिकारी
Many Afghan warriors who oppose your just rule have gathered in the mountains. Be cautious. We can only expect that they will stab us in the back as soon as we invade India.
Babur, we know that whoever rides with you will be rewarded with abundant plunder. We would join you, but we must first repair our battered mountain fortress. Unfortunately, enemy clans have seized our only quarry, depriving us of the building materials that we need. Drive their soldiers off, and we will be loyal to you.
Adesh? मैं समझ गई तो रखूंगी
Our quarry is ours once more. Thank you, Babur. We will now rebuild our fortress and then join you on your raids.
Attack player 2.
We march! Bring hell to their homes!
An avalanche buried this pass. With the help of a few strong elephants, we could clear the rubble and open this path again.
तुरंत निर्माता
Say, Babur, where should we strike? Pick a target, and we will send our soldiers there. The people of Lahore will tremble as they did in Tamerlane's time.
We have cleared the rubble. I wonder where this path leads.
We have been stuck behind this avalanche for 15 days. Show us the way out, and we will gladly join your army.
मैं चल रहा हूँ समझ गया आदेश
Attack player 3.
Nobody in Jalandhar will escape our blades and arrows.
Who are those riders this time? Mongols?
Tartars? Anyway, we will show this rabble who rules this land. Good news, Amir. Nomadic warriors from Transoxiana have heard of your successful raids and have come to join our ranks. Let us see how Indian elephants handle Tatar composite bows.
Invaders from the north are up to mischief in our lands. Alert all available soldiers.
Attack
The
player
people
2.
of Lahore will tremble as they did in Tamerlane's time.
For all the coin, diamonds, and rubies that my men presented to me, these spoils were merely the promise of something far greater. But I had just the idea for how to invest these new riches. Far to the west, in the Ottoman Empire, great advances had been achieved in gunpowder technology. The Sultan had entire gunpowder regiments at his disposal, and his new cannons were suitable not only for sieges, but also for use in battle. Thus, I sent negotiators to the Ottomans to acquire these miracle weapons for me, and to hire experts to demonstrate their use to my men, who only knew how to fight with bows and sabers. The sound of a cannon being fired is indescribable. For a while, I forgot about all of my troubles and simply fired a cannonball each day for my own amusement. Hearing of my new toys, my relatives began pleading for me to retake Transoxiana from the Uzbeks, even awarding me the title Padshah, Great King. A decent ploy, but my attention was now fixed on India. Strictly speaking, India already belonged to me, as Tamerlane had once conquered it for our family. As the last ruling descendant of the great Amir, it was only right that I be given back what someone else was only administering for me. That someone was a man named Ibrahim Lodi, an Afghan pretender who ruled northern India from his capital in Delhi. Seeking to avoid unnecessary bloodshed, I wrote him a friendly letter and gave him a goshawk as a present. All that I asked in return was for my lands to be given back to me. Unfortunately, Ibrahim Lodi never replied, and so I had to put down the quill and let my cannons do the talking. With 15,000 men, I marched on Panipat, a small village on the plains northeast of Delhi. Ibrahim, for his part, mobilized an army of 100,000. In front of my men, I played the intrepid general, unshaken even by this unimaginable number. But secretly, I wondered if I had not bitten off more than I could chew.
Ibrahim Lodi is so confident of victory that he has delayed his attack. This gives us time to improve our position.
Babur, I am dying to let my guns do the talking for you. But without a supply of gunpowder, the fun will not last very long.
Nirmata.
The two commanders of the Sultanate's vanguard are fickle characters whose loyalty to Ibrahim Lodi is in doubt. Perhaps we can convince them to join us instead of drowning in the bloodbath to come.
All the towers on the road are destroyed. What are you waiting for, my Odashla? Bring the gunpowder to the camp. Derhal! The gunpowder delivery has arrived. That will allow us to equip more cannons. Just keep the forces of the Sultanate away from my marksmen and cannoneers, Babur.
Nirmata.
The provisions stored in this building will now feed our soldiers and not the armies of the Delhi Sultanate.
Babur! You were thoughtless enough to invade my lands, although you are heavily outnumbered. No more waiting. It is time that you pay the price. Now charge, my mahouts! Vanguard, attack! Tear them apart! These Ottoman gunmen are strong. It must be their coffee.
मैं चल रहा हूँ.
I have this. All steady. All steady. Enough! It seems like I will have to take up the sword myself. Servants! Bring me my horse and armor!
Nirmata.
Darkness envelops me.
All is lost.
Ibrahim Lodi has fallen in battle. Word of his death will soon spread. Victory is within your grasp. Victory is ours! The panicked enemy soldiers storm off the battlefield in desperate search of shelter. The road to Delhi is clear.
On the fields of Panipat, the enemy's strength in numbers proved to be its greatest weakness. Having never faced firearms before, Ibrahim's terrified war elephants were rendered useless by the thundering of my cannons. With little room to maneuver, his fighters huddled together so closely that they became nearly immobile. Firing straight into their lines, my cannoneers created a bloodbath. Just a few hours after the battle begun, there was nothing left of Ibrahim's army. My men found his body in a mountain of corpses and brought me his head as evidence of his demise. With Ibrahim's death, the Sultanate of Delhi came to an end. I had a tomb erected for the fallen Sultan in Panipat, as a reminder that the great Babur treats even his fiercest opponents with respect. Having established myself as the new ruler of northern India, I set out to explore my new realm. But wherever I went, I experienced only shock and disappointment. The people here lacked all good manners and never paid their taxes on time. None of the cities that I visited had a university, and there were no good horses to be found, no tasty grapes or sweet melons. Nothing. The one saving grace was the enormous deposits of gold and silver, riches which made the Rajput empires in the west regard me with envy and suspicion. I knew better than to underestimate these independent princes, whom even Lodi had failed to subjugate. But motivating my men to do battle with them proved difficult. Many of the soldiers who had traveled with me from Kabul were disappointed that our campaign had not ended with a traditional Timurid pillaging. Like a sword that had seen too many battles, their loyalty had been blunted. I had to use all of my eloquence to convince them to stay. In a humbling act of sacrifice, symbolic of what I now asked of my followers, I publicly spilled a whole batch of Afghan wine that I had been looking forward to for months. My men were moved to tears when I announced that I would never again drink wine, for they knew very well how devoted I was to such worldly pleasures. When I asked Allah for his blessing, my soldiers held up their weapons in assent. With my warriors' loyalty sharpened, I began preparing for war.
Now that the Sultanate of Delhi is crushed, the Rajputs see their chance to regain power. Rest assured, Babur, we will not allow that. Centuries of war have made the rural population suffer. We may be able to win the peasants' loyalty by repairing their crumbling settlements.
Babur, rumor has it that you are fairly sharing the spoils of war. What do you say? Is there still room for some talented horsemen in your ranks?
We feared that you were just another Tamerlane. But unlike him, you are generous and show mercy. We will follow you, Babur.
समझ गया करूंगा निर्माता आदेश चारा खोजने वाला
आदेश मैं चल रहा हूँ
हाँ
We thank you, Babur, for keeping our village from falling apart. We promise to be your loyal subjects.
निर्माता
Our scouts report that the Rajput armies are on the move. They will attack us soon. It seems that we are no longer the only ones using gunpowder in combat. Portuguese traders sell arquebuses to the Rajputs. Let us show these infidel dogs from Iberia that they are not welcome here, so long as they do business with our enemies.
Strange. We have not received any payment yet. Are you sure that you want to continue fighting without our support, Babur? You are certainly having financial difficulties. There is no other way I can explain your refusal to hire us, Babur.
मैं तैयार हूँ।
However, the Rajputs are wealthy enough to contract our services. We will meet on the battlefield, Tiger.
आदेश समझ गई।
We thank you, Babur, for keeping our village from falling apart. We promise to be your loyal subjects.
आदेश श्रीमान आगे बढ़ो। हाँ आक्रमण। आदेश हमला। आदेश मैं चल रहा हूँ। आक्रमण। आदेश मैं चल रहा हूँ। हमला। आगे बढ़ो। आगे बढ़ो। मैं चल रहा हूँ। आक्रमण। आगे बढ़ो। मैं चल रहा हूँ। आक्रमण हमला।
We dealt the Rajputs a heavy blow. One of their kingdoms is shattered. One remains.
हमला। आपकी सेवा मैं चल रहा हूँ। आगे बढ़ो। आपकी सेवा। आक्रमण। आदेश आगे बढ़ो। मैं चल रहा हूँ। जी श्रीमान। जी श्रीमान। मैं चल रहा हूँ। हमला।
हाँ।
The Rajputs are defeated.
नमस्ते।
From now on, you are truly the only man who can claim overlordship of India. Long live Babur, His Imperial Majesty! Tamerlane may once have come to this land just to plunder and conquer, but we are different. Let us show these Rajputs a sight the likes of which no son of Amber or Meva has ever seen.
With the Rajput alliance crushed, there was no one left who dared challenge me. A grand feast was held to celebrate my victory. Everyone who had stood by my side on my arduous path to power received an invitation, as did, of course, all of the descendants of Genghis Khan and Tamerlane. 40,000 guests accepted the invitation, including princes from Persia, veterans from Kashmir, and even commoners who had done me a favor in one way or another. Yet what pleased me most was the arrival of about 100 Afghan peasants from Transoxiana who had given me shelter during my days in the wilderness. I had never forgotten the bravery of these common shepherds, and they, evidently, had not forgotten me either. While I laughed at the follies of my fellow commanders and danced to my heart's content with the cheerful peasants, it was all just for show. On the inside, I remain a stranger, alone in a foreign land.